What's up out there, Liquid Trucking? Welcome into the Liquid Trucking Podcast. Thank you so much for being here today for episode 132. I cannot believe that, Amanda. Every time we say another number on this podcast, I'm like, 132? Like, we're going to be at that 150 mark tomorrow, it seems like, and that means that the next day we'll be at 200. This podcast is, as I always say, on a gravy train with biscuit wheels.
You need to treat this podcast like a lady and quit revealing her age every single time.
It's probably true. I don't know if podcasts themselves, the organisms that they are, like being aged like that. But one thing I know is that if we've talked to you 131 times on here and you're still here, we must be talking about stuff that you want to hear about. So we're glad to have everyone here that clicked download today. Thank you so much. You're the reason that we're here. Be sure to check out podcast.liquidtrucking.com. That's our one-stop shop for you. You don't have to go to a platform. You don't have to download anything. You can listen to every episode right there on the website. Plus, there's some metrics up there. There's some leaderboards. You guys can kind of pit yourselves against one another. Hell, you can even pick up a Liquid Trucking shirt at that website if you want to. Most importantly, you can get in touch directly with Amanda and I. If there's something you want to talk about on the show, we want to hear about it, and we want to welcome you on. And don't forget, 25,000 Drive for Gold points for making your first appearance on here. And we got a driver going home with that today. Amanda, which brings me to what we're talking about today. We don't have a ton of time here because this conversation ran so long. The original idea today was to get Jesse Keebler and Cole Brown on to talk about their top safety tips for the changing of the seasons. Once summer starts to hit, temperatures rise, the ground thaws out. We got all these different things, all these different aspects coming into trucking right now. Construction is a huge one as well. And it just turns out that it's a very busy time of the year for Jesse and Cole. So they gave us a comprehensive list. We got 9 tips here, Amanda. And being on the other side, we've already recorded the interview. I just want to thank Jesse and Cole real quick because you guys gave us 9 tips, and you might not have thought that it was a huge amount. We were able to talk to 2 drivers about those 9 tips for over an hour, Amanda, which is not something we do very often on this show.
Well, here's what I think. I think you're going to hear the 9 tips, and you may say, those are things I know, but a refresher is great, and it's going to keep it top of mind and have you ready and prepared for the summer.
Absolutely. You know, I just had a safety manager from a different trucking fleet tell me something very poignant here less than an hour ago, Amanda, and that was complacency is the enemy of safety.
Oh, yeah.
And wow, this episode fits perfectly into that mindset. So if you feel a little complacent, if you're looking for things to brush up on from a safety standpoint, this is your episode. Let's get our drivers in here.
Welcome to the gold standard of podcasts for the gold standard of drivers. This is the Liquid Trucking Podcast with your host, Marcus Bridges.
All right, welcome back into the Liquid Trucking Podcast. Now, Amanda, we talked about it a little bit in the open, but this is a very important episode because we're talking about safety. And anytime that we talk about safety in trucking, everybody really focuses in. And I'm curious if you see the same thing, but when we talk to drivers, you notice that these safety-focused episodes are a little bit less like, goofy and fun, and all of a sudden the drivers dial in. I don't know. Do you notice that just inherently after as many episodes of you as you've done with me, Amanda?
I think, honestly, anytime we have more veteran drivers chiming in on anything, I think people try to soak that knowledge up as much as they can. Experience can teach you so much more than anything else can.
Yep, it's very true. And what I noticed too is that the drivers just take safety seriously. It's like an instinct more than it is. You might think that doing a good job as a good host, I would prepare the drivers and say, "Hey, we're serious for this one." I don't do that because I'm not A, that good of a host, and B, they already have that in themselves. So let's welcome our 2 drivers here today that are very focused and ready to talk some safety, especially summertime safety. Joining us first, he's back to the show. We haven't had you on for a little bit, but it's good to have you back. Please welcome Mike Redbeard Stanfield. Mike, thanks for being here, my friend.
What up, peeps? Good
No.
to be back.
Hey, man, always good to have you. I know it's been a while, but anytime you guys are always welcome on this show. So I'm just making sure I didn't say anything that put you off, did I? Like, you still like me?
No, I love you, man. I just think people got tired of hearing my voice there for a while, so I took a little sabbatical so other drivers could get on, all that good stuff.
You're a man
Aw.
of the people. Now you know how I feel every single day, right? You think they're tired of hearing you. But thanks for joining us, Mike. Always a pleasure to have you here, my friend. One of the guys that was one of the first to join me on the Liquid Trucking podcast all the way back in like those first 10 episodes. And we've developed quite a relationship since then. So always good to have you here, my friend. Also joining us is a driver making his first appearance, and we're super stoked to have him here. He's going to go home with 25,000 Drive for Gold points for the privilege. Please welcome to the show, Paul Norrid. Paul, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. We're glad. Always love welcoming new drivers on the show. And same thing we do with every driver that comes on for the first time. I want to know a little bit about you, first and foremost. How long have you been driving for Liquid?
I started in January of 25, so a little over a year.
Hey, you got your first year under your belt, man.
Hey.
That's awesome. Happy belated anniversary to you. How you liking it after a year and change?
Well, this will be my last trucking company I work for, so I love it.
That's
Great
awesome, man.
answer.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. And Amanda, an answer that we hear pretty frequently here on the
Yes.
Liquid Trucking podcast.
Absolutely.
It's always great. Well, Paul, thanks for being here, guys. Paul, when I was talking to you yesterday about kind of how this whole thing was going to go, I started to tell you about a few of the talking points that we were going to hit here today, and you kind of giggled a little bit and were like, yeah, I'm on board for that one. So I think we're going to be right down the middle here for you, and I think that we can just go ahead and jump into this because what happened here was we initially wanted to have Jesse on the show, our Jesse Keebler, our director of safety, on the show, and also Cole Brown from driver development. But it turns out that those guys are so swamped this week. It being a short week, they've got a lot of stuff going on their plates. They said, listen, can we send you some talking points and you guys can just handle that? And I was more than happy to. Anytime I can take pressure off and not apply more pressure with this podcast, I want to do that. So, gentlemen, what I have here are 9 tips offered from Jesse and Cole about staying safe during the summer, and it kind of covers a lot of bases here. So what I want to do is I want to run through these 1 through 9, and I want to give you guys each a chance to comment on each one of them, share your thoughts and any experience that you might have that sort of speaks to these tips. And then after that, we're going to get into a little bit of a more kind of broad summertime safety. We're going to talk construction, we're going to talk motorcycles, we're going to talk kids, all those things. So let's just jump in right here. Our very first tip, and it is actually, it's numbered 1, but then the first 3 words are first and foremost, which means this one is very important. And I think it's very important across all walks of life as the summer starts to creep in, and that is stay hydrated with water, and that is in all caps and underlined. Also offered, soda and coffee are not proper hydration. So Mike Stanfield, we're coming to you first here. What do you think when you see first and foremost stay hydrated with water after doing this job for Liquid as long as you have?
Well, let me just say that coffee is technically flavored water. I'm joking.
I'm with you on that.
I'm just joking. Yeah, staying hydrated is extremely important. There's been a couple times where I didn't drink enough water and then had to get out there in a hazmat suit in, over 100-degree weather in southern Texas to unload hazmat. And, I could definitely tell that it had an impact on me for sure.
How much water do you keep on the truck this time of year when you're OTR, Mike?
I constantly have 2 cases of water in my truck at one time. And they're 48 packs from Walmart.
Yeah.
I have like a tote that's like in my front seat, like right there, and it's just full of water.
Wow. So that's taking it very seriously, man, because let me tell you, you guys all know on this show, I'm a big tailgater in the fall when it comes to Oregon Ducks season, and I don't even bring 48 waters for my tailgate, and those people are pumping booze into them like it's the end of the world. So that's a pretty big amount, and that's probably a little bit overkill there, Mike, but you don't ever want to run out when you're out there. You definitely don't want to have to make an extra stop to get more water, right?
Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen out here on the road. You know, you might get broke down on the side of the road, and you might be there for a while. You want to have some water. It's just like in the wintertime, you want to make sure that you're staying stocked with the stuff that you need: water, food, extra clothing, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm glad to hear that you are well prepared, and that's kind of the point right here, guys. If you're hearing this and you go, wow, 248 cases or 248 bottle cases of water, that seems like a lot. I don't think you can ever have too much, and we want to bring you guys real drivers here to tell you how they do it. Because listen, Mike, if you've been out there with bad hydration in southern Texas with a hazmat suit on, the headaches and the things that come from dehydration and even maybe heat stroke or heat exhaustion, they happen very quick and they're very hard to come back from if you've ever dealt with it before.
Yep. Yeah, I have. And you're right. And I had to sit here in my truck, even though I was done unloading. I sat there for like an hour trying to cool off and drink as much water as I possibly could to wake myself back up so I could get back out on the road.
Right. I lost a whole day in Las Vegas to it once, Amanda. I went too hard at the pool. I'm very white. I'm almost see-through, and the body couldn't handle it. I was down there in the desert in June, and it just said nope, and I ended up sleeping in the hotel room when everybody else was out having a good time and gambling. So, and also, in all seriousness, I've had some heat exhaustion on a baseball diamond before, too, and the headache, I literally came home feeling like somebody hit me in the head with an aluminum bat. It's unbelievable how bad it is.
You don't think about the fact that they say your body is 98% water, right? So when they say that, all of your organs, everything, when you get dehydrated, literally shrivels. Everything shrivels up, which makes it harder for every part of your body to work. I will say the one time I dealt with dehydration and heat exhaustion, my Girl Scout troop foolishly let me guide them on a hike up a mountain, and we got very lost, and I did not have any water. It took one time and done, right? You have to be so careful with something like that, and that's why they say water to hydrate, nothing else. Coffee, as much as I love it, will dehydrate me. And then my husband, proof in the pudding with him, he works a very laborious job, and he says, I can't drink Powerade all day. Eventually, it's not doing what it needs to do for me. So drink that water. 48-pack, whatever it is, you keep it on you.
And I might just offer for any of you Girl Scouts listening, if that sash ain't filled up with patches, don't follow her up a mountain, okay? Because she ain't ready for it. That's all I got to say.
I might have been a brownie, actually, so to be fair.
Paul, I want to come to you here, man. When you hear first and foremost, stay hydrated with water, what runs through your head out there after a year and change here with Liquid Trucking?
Well, mine was the same example as Mike's. There was a couple of times last year I was wearing that chemical suit in 90-degree weather. And if I knew I was going to do that, I'm drinking a couple of bottles of water on the way. And then I actually took 4 bottles of water with me, set it on the back fender of the trailer, just so I'd have it right there, because just hooking up, I sweat a lot. And then in that suit, it's like a sauna.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure that water's right there so I don't have to stop the flow of product or keep running back to the truck. So
sure,
I try to have plenty with me.
That's a good idea to keep it right there handy. And I don't think I've ever heard those chemical gear hazmat suits described any better than just a portable sauna that you wear.
Right.
Air does not get in or out of those things, and they are they're necessary, right? You can't cut any corners when it comes to your PPE, Paul, especially not with some of the products you guys are hauling.
No, not when you're delivering acid.
Right. Right. It's like, what's worse, heat exhaustion or getting covered in acid? I'll take heat exhaustion, Alex, for 1,000.
When I was in college, I worked for a big box store, and we would do inventory around the holidays. And there was a guy who worked with us to stay hydrated. He would wear a Camelback. Do you guys know what those are?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Now imagine some guy in his early 20s doing inventory in a back room and he's climbing shelves with the Camelback on. That might look a little bit crazy, but I think you could fit it in your hazmat suit. I don't know.
Maybe. I'll tell you right now, that guy would be a meme if I was working in the warehouse with him, and for bad reason. Like, why would you do that? He's keeping himself safe, but I wouldn't have been able to break away from that. That's just the person I am, Amanda. I hate to say it.
No, I feel you. He definitely got roasted a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. Not quite as bad as Paul and Mike do in those chemical suits in South Texas, but roasted all the same. Paul, how much water are you keeping with you on your road trips right now? You heard Mike say he's pushing 100 bottles at any given time. How much do you keep on the truck?
I keep a couple of cases, not necessarily the 48 bottles, but I think I keep enough.
Step your game up, Paul.
Well, good. As long as the number is enough, that's what we want to hear. And, that's obviously, it's more water than any one human would need in any given day, but you guys are out there for more than one day. So, and I'm actually glad that we got to talk a little bit about chemical suits, because our next tip from Cole and Jesse says exactly this. Chemical gear is hot and uncomfortable as it is. That only intensifies the warmer the weather is. Do not ever shed PPE to cool down. If you get too hot and fear heat stroke, shut down the unload process, close all valves, and return to the cab of the truck to cool down and drink some water. Restart unload procedures once your health is back on track. Mike, we're going back to you here. You told us a story about being in South Texas. Have you ever had to shut down a reload process to cool down, or have you been able to basically miss that little hiccup in the process?
Oh, no, I've had to shut down before. I've had to shut down because I could barely stand up because I was so freaking hot. I couldn't breathe. Everything. I was dizzy, and I was like, dude, I went and I told, shut everything down. I went and I told them, I was like, hey, I gotta take a break for, like 30 minutes or something, because I'm about to pass out, dude. And they're like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Just, get back going whenever you feel like it, so, most places they understand, you know what I mean? So if you have to, shut it down and, take a break, drink some water.
Yeah, and
you get paid by the hour, so.
Right. That's a great part. You're still getting paid. And I would say, of course, customer service is very important, but in this case, even if a customer tries to give you guff about it, it's like, dude, I'm not going to die out here in South Texas just to get you your load. It's a very dangerous thing we're talking about here. People pass away or have terrible medical problems after getting heat exhaustion or heat stroke all the time. You really have to look out for yourself first out here, right, Mike?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I can say that I haven't been to a customer where they weren't understanding, you know what I mean? Because they don't want that type of lawsuit on their hand. If they say, no, you can't take a break, and you end up passing out, that's a huge lawsuit. You know what I mean? That's going to come back bad on them. So
absolutely.
They're not going to tell you, no, you can't take a break.
Yeah, for sure. That's a damn good thing. Paul, how about you? Now, I know you've only been here for about a year and a half, but has there ever been a time yet where you've actually had to shut it down in basically respect of your own health?
I have not had to yet, but it is nice to know that we work for a company that stresses that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, listen, if you've never worn a hazmat suit like these guys are talking about before, you can actually simulate it at home. Just go get 2 big black garbage bags, duct tape them together, get inside of it, and poke one hole to breathe through, and then go run a lap. That's the only way. Actually, don't do that because it's incredibly unsafe, but that's what we're talking about here, right? This equipment is meant to keep you completely sealed off from the outside world for good reason, and there's just no corners that you can cut here. I mean, it like Mike said, especially when you're hauling acid, it's very important. So I wanted to make sure and spend a lot of time on those first two, and some of the rest of these are going to have to deal with heat as well, fellas, but those two came across to me as very, very important, especially as we start to see the heat increase out there. You know, it was 86 here the other day in Eugene, Oregon, and I'm only 100 miles from the coast, so I can't imagine what it's already looking like in late May and early June out there in places like South Texas, Alabama, Florida, all these hot and humid places that you guys might have to go. And of course, the Midwest is no slouch either when it comes to heat this time of year. So you got to watch out for it. That's why we're here talking about it today. Amanda, how's the weather out there in Ohio? You guys still getting snowed on, or what's it doing?
We have quite the bipolar weather situation out here. So it's not like it'll dip into a little bit of summer weather and then it'll go back to like late winter weather. Today, clear skies and 70 degrees. So I'm not going to complain. It feels good right now.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Do not complain or else God will send a tornado. You're in the Midwest, essentially, so you got to be careful.
Or a blizzard.
Yeah, or a blizzard, right? Or a
back.
hurricane. Who knows? You'll get something, right? The ice caps will melt. It'll flood the whole state. You don't know. But
Yep.
Moving on to number 3 here. I love this one because you might watch me out on the golf course and call me a shade seeker. I play golf by myself a lot, so I'm constantly waiting for people to get out of my way so I can hit my damn shot. And I will stand in the shade, and this next tip says find shade whenever possible, whether that be parking the truck to keep the cab cooler or positioning yourself in a shady spot during an unload where you are still in direct supervision of the process. I think that's great advice. You don't give shade as much reverence as you probably should most days, but it can be 10, 15, 20 degrees cooler in the shade, especially if there's a little bit of a breeze. Mike, are you a shade seeker like I am when I'm chasing the little white ball around?
Oh, dude. You kidding me? I'm fat. Of course I am.
Come on now. It's the beard, too. That beard keeps the face a little bit warm, too, right? I mean, I get it.
Yeah, but the beard's not coming off.
Exactly. So, shade. So, any tips that you might offer drivers as far as finding shade? Because look, I've been to enough truck stops to know we're not talking about big shade trees at a lot of these truck stops. Even when you are out where big shade trees are, like where I am here in the Pacific Northwest, a lot of these parking lots are just big concrete jungles. So, any tips or tricks you use to find shade? Like get there early.
Get to a truck stop early?
Yeah, or just your parking spot, wherever it might be.
I mean, that's kind of hard to do, man. You just kind of have to play it by ear, and when you get to where you're going, just kind of scope out the freaking perimeter and where you're at, and see how you can set up to get in the shade. But that time you're not going to be able to find shade in the freaking truck stop, dude. Like it's just all open. Like, yeah, I haven't been able to find a truck stop with shade at all. So, I mean,
probably more of a rest area thing, right? If you're going to stop at a rest area and take your 10 there, you might get lucky and find a nice shaded spot in a rest area. But even then, a lot of times the truck parking spots are kind of out there on their own, and they put all the shade trees next to where all the four-wheelers park. Isn't that a bitch?
Yeah, well, you're right. Rest areas are really good about keeping trees around and stuff like that. And I tend to park more in rest areas than I do truck stops anyways, because truck stops are just out of control nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah, rest areas are a really good one that have shade.
We call that the circus factor, by the way. Truck stops are they're raising on the circus factor right now. It's just more of a circus every time you go there. And some of the stories I hear are just wild, Mike. I mean, I don't blame you for seeking out rest stops instead of truck stops.
Yeah. I wish we didn't even have to stop and get fuel at truck stops, but
we haven't got that rolling fueling thing working yet like they do for the U.S. military, but I promise you,
oh my God,
we got the best minds on it, man. And by I mean somebody else, but somebody's thinking about it. So, boy, that would be nice for truck drivers. I can't believe we've never brought that up on the show before. A rolling refuel. I mean,
I hear it now. Highway to the Danger Zone playing in the background as I try to align my vehicle with the back of your truck.
right. Paul, in terms of shade, man, what's your philosophy? Do you kind of shy away from truck stops as well and try to get to a rest stop if you can? How do you go about getting that truck parked in shade for either your 10s, your 34s, or even an unload?
Yeah, usually by the time we park at night, if there is a spot at a truck stop, you don't really have much choice.
Right.
There might only be one or two. I tend to try to park in rest stops also as much as I can.
And is that more of is it a shade factor thing in the summer? Do you just feel more secure and safe at the rest stop? What is it that kind of tips you more on that side of the scale?
Actually, I find rest stops a little quieter than truck stops.
Maybe not 600 reefer trucks parked right next to you, right?
You're right.
I'm curious, like, what's our favorite state for rest stops? What's your state of preference? Who do you think has the best rest stops?
Good question.
I think Missouri has some nice ones on I-44.
Okay.
There's quite a few parking spots. Some of them, like Nebraska, is probably the worst with just the few parallel spots.
Okay.
On some of their rest areas.
Okay.
You know, I was up there in Indiana and saw a couple of really nice, I guess they weren't even they didn't even call them travel, or they didn't even call them rest stops. They called them like travel centers. And it looked like there might be like a little, maybe a mini mart or something in there, but it wasn't your standard truck stop. It was just a really big rest area. And I do think that was up in the Ohio, Indiana area. Amanda, you're probably familiar.
Yeah, we get them on I-80 on the toll highway. That's where you're going to get those travel centers. You get, like your Starbucks or whatever will be in there. But yeah, it's like a beefed up rest stop for sure. And then on the regular interstates, we have the regular rest stops. But I see here in Ohio, there's definitely a trend to at least being more mindful of truckers. A few episodes ago, I was talking about how they took a rest stop out and they turned it into truck parking. So obviously still some more thought maybe needs to go into that. People talk about putting solar panels in farmland, and maybe instead of doing that, put them in parking lots. Why not use it to cover up semis? Give you guys some shade and make electricity at the same time. I don't know, okay? I don't have a business plan or anything. Don't ask me. Like Marcus said, greater minds than ours will think of these things.
Yeah, right. We come up with all the good ideas. It's up to somebody else to execute them, right? That's why we're here. We're the idea machine. That's all it is. And trust me, a lot of those ideas hit the cutting room floor before they ever find execution, and probably for the better. But rolling fueling and the solar panels at truck stops and at rest areas right now, I think there's some meat on that bone. Mike, I'm going to go to you for that same question that Amanda posed. What's your favorite state for finding a rest stop in?
Man, I don't remember what state it was that I was in, but they had made these rest areas. They had shut them down for, maybe it was Illinois. I think it was Illinois. But they had shut these rest areas down for a while to rebuild them, and they made them like super nice. Tons of parking for trucks. Like you walk in there and you're just like, oh, it's like really nice.
Yes.
That's great.
I think it's Illinois is where it was at. I don't quite remember because I'm freaking all over the place all the time. I think it was Illinois. Yeah, I think it's Illinois. I think it's one of my favorites.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and jump in here, too, just to be a homer for my own state, and that's because I don't travel outside of it nearly as much. But there is one rest stop just short of Albany on Interstate 5. So it's going to be just north of Albany as you're headed south on Interstate 5. That's Albany, Oregon. And when you pull into this thing, now, this is granted, you have to be headed south. If you pull into the north side, it's a desert. There's no shade. Everything seems brighter. But on just the other side of I-5, you pull into this rest stop, Amanda, and it is like a campground. I'm talking 400, 500, 600-year-old trees that you can't even see the top of, completely surrounding it. There's no parking spot in the sun in that rest stop, and that goes for the trucks and the four-wheelers. The amenities, They could use, I don't know, some cleaner. But that's, I think, every rest stop that you go by. But it's out there. So, in fact, I'll try to find the exit that it's on to try to give you guys that.
Oregon is so special that way, too. You guys, don't you have a law protecting your coastline as well where people can't even build?
Yeah, there's no private beaches, just like in Hawaii. There are no private beaches in Oregon. Nobody owns the beach, and you just, everybody can use it. Now, the caveat there is, out of the, however many hundreds of miles that we have of shoreline, there's only probably like 30% of it that you can actually even walk down to, because it's just rugged cliffs and things like the Devil's Punch Bowl that they call it and things like that.
That sounds fun.
it's fun to look at from 300 feet up. It wouldn't be fun to be down there as you see these giant waves crashing and everything. It's a rugged coastline in Oregon most of the way. But yes, you're right. The beaches are protected there. And I'm still working on finding that.
Yeah, I'm only distracting you a little, but I only bring that up to say that I appreciate a state that appreciates its natural beauty. So I can definitely see where they would have like a gorgeous rest stop. But I definitely think when you're talking about safety, driving safety, this was like a hidden gem of a tip from you gentlemen that I didn't expect.
Exactly.
The rest stop over the truck stop. I love this.
Yeah, I love it too. And, so many of you guys are thinking about your health and you're meal prepping now, or you're bringing your own food on the truck, that you don't need to be at a truck stop to stay satiated, right, Mike?
Yep, it's true.
And Paul, how about you? You're not. Are you eating truck stop food, or are you bringing your own food on the truck and on the route with you?
I'm bringing my own as much as I can.
Good on you, man.
I'll try to cook over the weekend and have enough at least for the first week that I'm out.
Good.
And then I keep plenty of dry food and stuff, so I'm not ever going to be hungry.
Good. I'm glad to hear it, man. Glad to hear it. That's something I love. It seems like every time we bring that up on the show, more and more drivers are falling into that, and that's the best place for you to be, man. You're going to be healthier and happier and safer because of that out there on the road. And just in case anybody is wondering, we were talking about the Santiam River rest area, the southbound side of that here in Oregon on I-5. It's great. I mean, if you keep a fishing rod on the truck, you are 10 feet from catching trout at that rest area, which is really cool. So if you're ever by it, let me know. That's only about an hour from me. I'll come up there and join you. We can assess the cleanliness of the bathrooms together.
That's weird.
Well, it's only weird if you make it weird. It's only weird if you make it weird. I bet you Amanda and her girlfriends go to the bathroom together all the time. What's weird if a couple bearded dudes do it, huh?
I don't do that thing. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Why do you want to go to the bathroom with me? Like, I'm with them. I don't get that.
All right, I get it. I'm the black sheep at this one, but I'm okay with that, okay? Come catch a trout with me at the rest area, though.
There you go.
There
Sounds
you go.
way less weird.
Might be a brown trout, but we'll fish it out of there anyway, so... It's funny that I opened this break by saying we're going to be serious, and here I am talking about this. I gotta bring it back to between the mayonnaise and the mustard here. This one is also having to do with shade, fellas. Number 4 on our list: close the bunk curtain at night. This one has a couple exclamation points after it. It says the curtains around the windows will help keep it cooler in the truck, but the curtain that closes off the bunk from the rest of the cab will help you stay significantly cooler at night. Mike, your experience with that, you find it stays a little cooler in the cab if you close that curtain between the seats and the sleeper?
Oh, yeah, dude. And now I've got one of these trucks that have the EPUs in them. I do that, and it keeps me way cooler at night. Like, the EPUs in these trucks that they got now are freaking phenomenal, and I hope that everybody gets to have one here soon, because it's a huge game changer. Not having to run your truck at night. And just use the EPU. It'll freeze you out, for real. It's awesome.
I love it.
Right?
I would so much rather
amazing.
sleep. I would so much rather sleep in a refrigerator than anywhere near room temperature. I've always been like that.
Dude, I don't turn my bunk heater on in the wintertime.
My guy.
I just sleep cold.
That's awesome. I'm right there with you. My wife hates it, but you know what? You can always put more blankets on. I can't take this beard off. That's the thing you have to understand. And it heats up the whole boiler room. I don't know why, but it does. Paul, how about you, man? Any luck cooling down at night by closing that second curtain there that separates the cab and the sleeper?
I never have. I've only just pulled the curtains around the windows.
Are you going to try it tonight?
I
I'll try it now that it's a suggested tip from the company.
Yeah,
There
for
you
sure.
go.
Well, and you never know. Maybe you're one of those guys that likes to sleep a little bit warmer. That's okay too. I'm to each their own. I'm not going to shame you for that.
I do use my bunk heater in the winter, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, Mike's a little crazy, but we've known that about him for a long time, so it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not, guy doesn't go by the name Redbeard without having a screw loose, right, Mike?
Dude, I've had a screw loose since I came out. So I came out of my mom's womb. I came out of my mom. Then I came out of the closet. Let's stop that right there. Okay.
I mean, you could have stopped right after I came out and you wouldn't have dug yourself any deeper, but I think you kind of dug yourself just a foot or so
Right.
deeper there because you started to put ideas in my head, and that's where you get in trouble, Mike.
Well, I was in prison for a while, so I'm
It's
joking.
true. It's true. So, I love it, man. I love it. This next one we already kind of talked about here. Eat light, healthy foods and avoid heavy, greasy truck stop foods whenever possible. Amanda, for me, when I was back in my playing days in high school, I could eat whatever I want, whenever I wanted, and it never affected me. I used to, before every varsity football game, my senior and junior year, I would go to this little greasy spoon called Top Hand, and I would eat a sandwich called a Super Chicken Oink. Okay, this was
What?
this was a deep fried
Right.
chicken breast with a fat piece of grilled ham on it and 2 different kinds of cheeses. And I would go and play a damn football game after that. If I tried that today, go ahead and get the stretcher ready for when we're doing stretching because I'm going to die on the field. And it's just something that happens to all of us as we get older. And maybe some young guys are listening to this in their mid-20s right now or late 20s thinking, man, come on, a roller dog and a bag of Cheetos and I'm set for the day. But let me tell you, your days are numbered with that. And Mike, I want to talk to you. I know that you make some food out of the cab from time to time. You're trying to eat healthy. You've told us about a weight loss journey on this show before. What's your philosophy when it comes to fueling your body and also trying to stay away from like heat exhaustion and things like that in the summer?
Lean meats, man. So I've been into like turkey breasts, like deli meat turkey breasts, like from Hy-Vee, like not the pre-packaged stuff, but the stuff that you can buy at the deli counter. And then I'll get like what was it? Tomato and basil wraps that are like super thin, and just like some jalapeno mustard, some lettuce, some freaking cucumbers, and my mouth's starting to water talking about it.
Me too.
a couple a couple slices of that turkey breast, and you roll it up into a burrito, and just it is refreshing and it keeps you full because it is a healthy meat. And yeah, it'll definitely help you out here on the road for sure.
Yeah, for sure,
Right.
man. Look, we all love a bacon cheeseburger, but that causes meat sweats. And one thing that a turkey wrap won't do is give you the meat sweats, right?
Yep, exactly.
How about you, Paul? You talked a little bit about cooking over the weekends to have enough when you're out there. Do you pay special attention to try to keep the meals a little bit lighter, a little bit leaner during the summer so that you're not out there with the meat sweats in a hazmat suit?
I do. I'll smoke a pork or something, and then just take some pulled pork or something fairly healthy. And then I've been buying these little cottage cheese cups.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes if you're at a customer getting loaded, just eat one of those, and then you kind of have the energy to keep going the rest of the day.
No, it's true. Cottage cheese got a ton of protein in it. I spent most of my life despising cottage cheese, and I'll eat it like ice cream out of the tub now, just straight commando out of the fridge, Amanda. And really a good, healthy snack to have. I'm glad you brought that up, Paul, because they do make those little cups, and they're just so convenient. Or you can get, a 32-ounce tub of it or whatever for the fridge that'll last a while. Love me some cottage cheese. Amanda, are you a cheese person or a cottage person? Either one?
I want to try all the housing cheeses. I don't know, a comedian said that. He's like, I want to try apartment cheese. I want to try. No, man, cottage cheese is definitely regular in my house. I go back and forth every other day between cottage cheese and yogurt. I like to slice up some fruit and throw it in with the cottage cheese. But I'll tell you, like,
Yeah.
to have the female perspective for all of y'all, and if, we've got our lady truckers out there listening along, when we were skinny, we thought we were fat, and then we're fat and we think we're fat. So it's not so much how you look. You guys, you got to make sure that you feel good. You got to make sure you're eating to give yourself the fuel for the strength to do what you got to do for your job. So it's not, diet is a word that describes what you eat every day. It's not a word that describes what you're going to not do anymore, right? So you got to just make sure you're getting that fuel in your body. And cottage cheese is a great one. I always keep like some little protein shakes on hand. All these things go hand in hand too with the heat exhaustion. You got to have the fuel, you got to have the water as well. So, they go together. I really think all these trendy kids now that, are influencers about fitness and stuff, they should take a cue from the truckers. They're the original meal preppers.
Yeah, they really are. And you, as an elder millennial, if I do say so myself, since I'm one there too, I can say that. You and I both lived through, and Mike, you probably did too. Paul, I'm not sure quite how old you are, but you'll be familiar with this as well. The diet craze was a huge thing when we were kids, and we all saw our moms or our sisters or anybody else that was in our lives, friends. They all of a sudden were on Atkins walking around with a bag of hot dogs, and suddenly that was healthy. Or, I remember at one point in time as a kid, there were commercials saying eggs are high in cholesterol, don't eat eggs.
Right.
I could go crush an 18-pack of eggs right now and at least run a lap. Like, it's not as bad as what they all said it was. And so I think it's important, Amanda, that you bring that up, that the word diet kind of got bastardized when we were kids, and it became a thing that you went on a diet. You didn't just have a diet that you stuck to. So it kind of, I think it set the table for the peaks and wanes that a lot of people see in their weight loss. Is like, well, I ate really good for a while, and now I'm back down to my fighting weight, and now I can have 5 tubs of ice cream and a cheeseburger, and then you're right back up to where you went. We're a product of our environment, right? A diet isn't something you go on. A diet's something you have. That's a really, really good way to put it, Amanda. And I will say this, now that we're through those first 5 tips, I'm going to buckle down here. I'm going to keep it between the mayonnaise and mustard, because the next tips that we have to do with driving on the road during this time of year, and I think they're very important, and I know that you guys, the drivers, always have an eye for this type of safety as well. Tip number 6, in all caps, underlined, and in bold: slow down for construction zones. It doesn't matter if everyone else is disregarding the work zone speed limits. Be the example and set it. Respect the workers and their lives. If people are flying around you, consider turning on your flashers to raise more awareness to motorists around you. You guys, I will tell you right now, from all my driving experience and all my 41 years, truck drivers are the safest people in construction zones. And you notice it because, sometimes you're late and you're trying to fly, and those trucks are going to slow down and obey the law. And to a lot of four-wheelers, that becomes an inconvenience, but I promise it's not. Mike, especially this time of year, construction is something you're seeing all the time out there. How do you go about it with these construction zones? Are you turning on your flashers? And what kind of stuff do you see go on around you when you're trying to be safe in a construction zone?
Dude, one of my biggest pet peeves is people speeding through construction zones. It's a huge pet peeve for me. Like, these people are out on the street working, and you are flying through the construction zone, probably playing on your phone, not paying attention. I go a little bit slower than what the recommended speed is in a construction zone, just because I'm hoping that makes people who are behind me slow down even more too.
Yeah.
Because I want everybody to be going through there safe. You know what I mean? Those people are out there working, the construction workers, they have families to go home to. What they're doing is super dangerous, and it's not us, people speeding through there. is not helping them at all whatsoever.
Right.
So the speed limit through a construction zone is a recommended speed limit, but I recommend going a little bit slower than that.
Good advice, man. And you're right. You got to step out of your own body for a second and think about the people that are out there on the road. I mean, just go stand on the side of the highway and watch somebody come by at 70 miles an hour, and then put yourself in an orange vest and stand, I don't know, 5 feet from that rearview mirror. It starts to get real really fast. And I only know that because I spent some time doing some volunteer work for one of my sports teams back in the day, cleaning up on the side of the highway. And wow, I mean, we were a long way removed from it. We were away from any type of what I would call real considerable danger unless somebody came flying off the road in pretty crazy fashion. But when you really, it gets real to you, at least to me, Amanda, is when you're standing 20, 25 feet off the road and a semi-truck goes by and you feel the wind, all that space away from it, and you go, oh my God, if that thing hit me, I'm going for a ride. And then everything's turning black. That's just the way it goes. And I think that's real poignant, Mike. And, you know, same thing that we talk about all the time on the show. You guys want to get home to your families, and so does everybody else. And, boy, you got to put the point on that for construction workers, Amanda, because they are in a precarious spot all the time.
Absolutely. And I'm with Mike on that, going a little bit slower. I have an overly active imagination. So as I'm passing through those construction zones, I'm picturing one of these guys tripping, and where are they going to land, right? Yeah. Like, I always am trying to be ready and prepared because you don't know what's going to happen. They share the statistics for construction injuries in the state of Ohio pretty regularly. But I will tell you, the numbers are so shocking that I can't even remember an estimate to tell you because it was completely unexpected for such a short period of time. I mean, we're talking double digits by the second month of the year, and that's including deaths. It's horrendous. And so somebody who is out there on the road driving for a living, willing to take the time to go slowly through there, we all should. It's just crazy.
Absolutely. Unexpected, that number, and also unacceptable, right?
Yes.
I mean, one of those things that you just say, this has got to change because we need this infrastructure. Like, these guys have got to do, this is an essential job. Without the roads being in shape, the products that we haul don't get where they need to go. And then all of a sudden you start talking about the country shutting down. So
right.
Very, very important work. And it's only once or twice removed from really throwing a wrench in the spokes, if I do say so myself. Paul, I want to get to you on your philosophy as far as construction zones. This time of year, obviously, you're starting to see more and more of them. Are you like Mike? Are you a few miles an hour below the speed limit guy? Do you turn on your flashers? What kind of philosophy do you have as a liquid trucking driver when you approach a construction zone?
I haven't ever used my flashers, but I am speed limit or less, definitely in the construction zone. I just came through St. Louis and Columbia, Missouri today. And Columbia is a freaking mess right now with road construction.
Yeah.
It's orange barrel season.
Yeah, it really is. Paul, have you ever seen any crazy stuff happen in a construction zone when you've been driving through it? Maybe kind of like Mike said, some of the people speeding or just not paying attention, or maybe even an accident that's happened when you've been in close proximity?
I haven't seen an accident, but I've seen some close calls. And I try to keep that good gap of distance between me and even the car in front of me if there's a one lane, if it's down to one lane.
Yeah.
Because I've seen, people just flying along, and then all of a sudden all the brake lights come on, and I want to make sure I have enough space to stop.
Yeah, that's an ominous feeling sitting in your seat when all of a sudden you start seeing brake lights ping back towards you, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, with that huge tank full of liquid behind you, especially because it's like you get one stop and then you got to go for another stop once that surge hits. So great stuff there, man. I love to hear that you leave that gap out in front of you because I've talked about this multiple times on this show. You guys, just in talking to you over these 130 plus episodes, have made me such a better driver, not only around trucks, but just in general, because I start to see those gaps that you guys talk about, and I see the way that people wedge themselves in there. And I find myself, I'm like a dad. I go, do you understand how long it takes that truck to stop? And I'm just yelling at the dashboard for nobody's benefit but my own. But I'm glad because I think that makes me safer out there on the road. And if everybody can take a little bit of that from one of these episodes like the one we're doing today, boy, I feel like we've done our job, Amanda. And I know that you're feeling it now. You've been here for enough episodes to where I bet it affects you when you're out there on the road, just thinking about the conversations you've had and how you can make yourself a safer driver in all these scenarios.
I mean, similar to you, except I would say my experience on the podcast has shown me what an amazing driver I already am. I'm like, wow, look at me. I do all these things already. How can you improve perfection, Marcus? I mean, I must be the best driver, right?
Well, I'll tell you how you can mask perfection is by being all the way in Ohio so I can't go out there and observe it. You bet your butt if we were living a couple blocks apart, I'd be staked out waiting for you to make a mistake and bring it up on this podcast. But for now, I'll take your word for it. I believe you. That's great stuff, though, guys, from both you, Mike and Paul. The construction zone safety is a huge part of summertime safety. It is, like you said, Columbia, Missouri's a mess, and that goes for just about every other city that is Columbia's size or bigger or smaller. So it's something we want to have front of mind awareness right now, especially. Let's get on to tip number 7 here as we're taking up more time than I want. I've really been flapping my gums today. Motorcycles are out. Mike, I know this one touches you a little bit on the outside of trucking as well, but motorcycles are out. Look twice or even 3 or 4 times before changing lanes or merging onto a roadway. It doesn't matter how hard you try. Motorcycles are tougher to see. They're smaller. Sometimes they can blend in with the front end of a vehicle that they're driving in front of. Sometimes they split lanes. It's not always somebody else's fault when there's a motorcycle involved in an accident. I won't say that, but I will say that the amount of damage that can be done if a motorcycle pings off the side of your trailer or your truck is absolutely massive, and we want to stay away from that. Mike, there's a lot of bikes out on the road right now, my friend. You know that intimately, I'm sure. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, I don't ride anymore. I sold my my bike because I didn't ride it enough, but I'll get another one in the future. But yeah, dude, so around this time, riding season, there's going to be a lot of bikes out, especially because there's a lot of bike shows. There's a lot of club gatherings. Most of the time, they're riding in packs, so it's a lot easier to see. But then you get those lone wolf riders that are out by themselves and can be easily lost in your blind side. That's why we have 3 mirrors on each side of our truck to be able to spot, even in our blind sides, our blind spots, these motorcycles. Not all of them have rumbling engines. Some of them are super quiet. So yeah, look once, twice, 3, even 4 times before you turn or switch lanes or anything like that.
Yeah, got to be sure. Those cruiser bikes, like I think about one of my buddy's dads had a Honda Goldwing back in the day. And when he turned that thing on, it's like, is that even a motorcycle or did you just upfit a Honda Civic? Because that thing is quiet. And so, you're not always going to hear them. Now, of course, if somebody comes up on you on one of those Kawasaki crotch rockets, you'll hear that from a mile away. I can hear them coming from Springfield, which is 10 miles to the east of me, and then eventually they rip right by my house here. They're loud, but so is your truck. That's something else you have to think about is it doesn't really matter how loud something is when you're already in something loud yourself. So great points there, Mike. And I love hearing them from you as a guy who has a lot of experience on a bike. I'm sure that you're taking these precautions when you do get back to riding. This is something that you're thinking about as the biker too, because you have to be very defensive as a biker out there amongst all the four-wheelers and big rigs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're pretty defensive as truck drivers. You got to be just as or even more defensive when you're on a bike.
Yep. Heard that. Paul, are you a motorcycle rider at all? Do you have any experience out there on 2 wheels?
No, I am not. But like when I'm driving, especially if I'm driving through a town and they'll see a motorcycle, I'll try to make eye contact with them.
Yeah.
Like if they're stopped waiting to turn, make sure they know I see them, they see me.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And that's a good idea that you can double up for bicyclists too, right?
Right.
Yeah. What type of precaution are you taking out there this time of year? Is there anything that you're doing different other than just keeping your head on a swivel and maybe looking a few more times when it comes to motorcycles, aside from making the eye contact?
Yeah, check your mirrors once, twice, 3 times before you. And I try to, like, if I'm trying to do a lane change, I'll turn my turn signal on, let it blank 4 or 5 times before I even think about. I'll look, turn on my turn signal, keep looking back, and leave my signal on before I even think about changing a lane.
That's a good idea, man. I tell you, there's nothing that frustrates me more than somebody that's halfway through a lane change that decides to indicate that they're going to do a lane change. It's like that thing is supposed to indicate the action before it happens, not during or after. Right. So give us a little bit of warning here. It'd be like if your brake lights came on 3 seconds after you applied pressure. It doesn't really matter anymore, right?
Right.
Number 8 on
I always go by the...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Nope, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, I always do the 10-second rule when it comes to turn signals and switching lanes. 10 seconds on before you switch lanes, 10 seconds on after you get done switching lanes, and then turn it off.
That's a great rule. Good rule of thumb to think about there. And you can even count the blinks, right? They're just going to blink about once a second. So just know, you leave that thing on for a little bit of extra time. Worst thing that's going to happen is somebody behind you is going to go, this idiot left his blinker on, and that guy doesn't matter, right? So, that's something that we got to remember out there. Working through here, guys, we're kind of running out of time, so I want to get through these last 2 because they're important as well. Number 8 on the list, farmers are out working on their fields. Be prepared for slow-moving farm equipment on the highways and pay extra close attention when cresting hills or rounding blind corners. This is a big one, especially out there in the Midwest. The farm activity goes from 0 to 100 this time of year. The ground thaws out. The soil is rich. Everybody's growing something. And I imagine you guys are constantly dealing with farm equipment on the road, especially with some of the deliveries that you guys make. Sometimes you're headed out into farmland, which, hey, if you're going to find it, that's where you're going to find it, is farm equipment on the road in farmland. So it makes sense. Mike, talk to us a little bit about it. You see a huge uptick in farm equipment on the road this time of year?
Absolutely. And anytime I'm on like farm roads or anything like that, I'm extra vigilant when cresting hills or going around corners, because you could come up on some farm equipment really fast because they're slow. You know what I mean? So, just be extra vigilant when you're on those, farm roads and back roads and stuff like that. When you're cresting and going around corners, take your time. We get paid by the hour. It's not that big of a deal.
Right. I also wonder, for those out there, I don't think this is different state to state, but are the ag-exempt vehicles, do they have the orange triangle on the back of them in lieu of like a license plate if they're on the highways out where you guys are at?
Yeah, I don't see too many on the highways. It's mostly on back roads
stuff
like that.
Yeah, so just another indicator to watch for, because you can see those things from a long ways away. They're reflective. But again, probably not a highway thing as much as a back road thing. It's a good point, Mike. Paul, for you, do you see a lot more farm equipment out where you get to during this time of year?
Yeah, if I'm on 2-lane roads, I'll see quite a few, and I'm with the same philosophy as Mike. We get paid by the hour, so I will turn on my flashers when I see one coming up, just to let cars know that I'm slowing down for a reason and not just to go flying around me.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
I love that. I can always spot a good truck driver when I see that. You're coming up on, in fact, just this last weekend, I was headed over the McKenzie Pass. A 6-year-old got hit by an RV, and they had to life flight him directly off of the highway. And where we met the traffic slowdown or the traffic stop was coming off the peak of actually it's right up on top of the mountain where the Pacific Crest Trail cuts over, and there's a passing lane that goes all the way up the steep side, and it tips down over, and everybody's merging back into one lane, and all of a sudden stopped dead at, everybody's doing 65 or 70. This was Memorial Day weekend. Everybody was trying to get to where they were going, And it's just so fortunate that Ashley and I had been following a flatbed for a while at that point, and he's up higher. He's got that awareness. He flipped on his flashers a good 45, 50 seconds before we ever came up to where the traffic was stopped. And you know, I don't think I would have hit him. I think that I'm a little bit more aware of that, but I could never be sure because I did not know what was going on in front of that truck because I couldn't see around him. So if he would have just started slowing down to 10 or 15 miles an hour on the highway, who knows what me or the rest of the people behind me that are in a hurry to get to the lake or the campground are going to do. So, guys, I love to hear that about the flashers. You guys have no idea. Well, you probably do have an idea how much that does for four-wheelers like Amanda and I, even if they think that they're the best driver out there, Amanda.
Whatever. Hey, I gotta drive around the Amish buggies with the orange triangles on the,
That's
on
right.
the back. You hit a state route in the state of Ohio, you never know what you're going to have to drive past.
Yep. Those horse and buggies, what is it? They cap out at about 4 horse, if I'm not mistaken,
yeah,
right?
Something like that, yeah.
All right, guys. Number 9. This one is also really important here because it's something that you guys deal with at a lot of different stops that you might have to make. Number 9, coming from Cole and Jesse. Summer heat and storms will make for soft ground, muddy conditions, and unpredictable asphalt. Always ensure that landing gear is placed on concrete when dropping a loaded trailer. Never drive into giant puddles or across roads covered in flowing water or where you cannot see the surface. Keep your tires on the hard surface whenever possible, and if you're unsure about a road or a lot you're about to drive down, stop, get out and look, walk it first, or find another way. Mike, I can tell by how long this tip is that this is something that is, you guys are dealing with this all the time with all of the different places that you might have to go. How serious are you about finding good spots for dropping trailers and where your tires are at this time of year when you're kind of bridging the gap between frozen ground and hard, dry ground?
Dude, it's, it gets crazy at some of these places that we go to. Just last year, last spring, I got stuck in mud at a customer's, and they had to call a wrecker out to come pull me out of the mud. So, yeah, I mean, if it looks soft, get out and test it. And if it's too soft, don't drive over it. Don't pull Mike.
Don't pull a mic. Love it. What types of indicators are you looking for something that you would deem too soft once you're out of the truck and actually looking at it and standing on it, Mike?
Seeing other, R prints or tire prints in it. If it looks like it's digging in too deep, you gotta think cars they're not as heavy as we are, so they can, probably navigate it a little bit better than we can. Once we get in there and we get stuck and we try to rock it back and forth, we're just going to keep digging ourselves deeper and deeper and deeper in that mud. And you're not going to be able to get out.
Yeah.
But yeah, just seeing how deep the tire prints are in the mud. If there's any standing water anywhere, that's a good indicator that it's going to be pretty wet, and sloppy. So, just be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, got to get out and look. Paul, have you pulled a mic yet at this point in time in your time with Liquid Trucking?
I haven't been that fortunate yet. I haven't been stuck. But just to think about storms in general, my Garmin will tell me if I'm, like when I have my route plugged in, if I'm driving into an area with a thunderstorm warning or a tornado watch or whatever. So as soon as I see that, I'll hit the weather radio and I'll tune in and start listening to that and see if I need to think about finding a place to stop.
Yeah, because you never know when high winds can easily tip over a truck like you're driving. I mean, we see it all the time. It actually, Amanda, just happened a couple days ago down in your old stomping grounds of Klamath Falls. I saw right there on the highway a box truck, or not a box truck, but a dry van just tipped over on its side, and it was just high wind gusts coming off this hill. Dude was cruising, and it just blew him over sideways. That stuff can come up on you quick, can it, Paul?
It can. And we're a little more insulated from the high winds based on the shape of the tank.
Right.
But so I don't necessarily want to be out in 60 and 70 degree winds to try to test that theory.
Yeah,
Right.
no, I mean, we've had drivers on the show before, long time ago, but tell us that they were feeling the truck come off of the wheels on one side, and they were parked, which is great, but also an ominous feeling when you're sitting in a parked truck and you start to tilt a little bit because of the
Terrifying.
wind. I can imagine I might need some seat cleaner at that point in time, is all I can say.
Yeah, be a code brown.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, guys, I think you guys did awesome today. We've already been on the air for over an hour. I greatly appreciate this. This has been exactly what I wanted here. We didn't even get to everything that we had planned, but the point is we got to these 9 big tips that Cole and Jesse sent us today. And I just want to thank you, Mike and Paul, for being here for that and talking us through it. You guys obviously have a great eye for safety, and we greatly appreciate you sharing your philosophies with us today. Paul, one thing that we do on this show, and I'm sure you've listened, we give a chance for every driver to share their final thoughts with us here on the program. I'm going to go ahead and take the pressure off you. I'm going to let Mike go first. But just as a reminder, our final thoughts can cover anything that we forgot to get to or didn't have time to get to. It can be shout outs. It can be anything you want. The most important part is thank you for being here. And Mike Redbeard Stanfield, the floor is yours. Final thoughts before we let you go today.
You guys just make sure you're staying hydrated, paying attention to what's going on out there. Slow down in work zones, and don't pull a mic.
Don't pull a mic. Don't pull a mic. That's what we're aiming for. No mics this year out there, and that's what we're gonna go. The thing is it's gonna become what they all call it now, Mike. And I would feel bad if I was the one that said it, but since you're the one that said it, it's kind of fair game at this point, right?
Yeah, it's all right. I'm also Molasses Mike. Shade calls me Molasses Mike because of all the shit that I go through with molasses. So, yeah, Molasses Mike. Don't pull a mic. Yeah, it's all good.
Okay.
As long as I can set a good example.
There you go, man. I love it. You got broad shoulders. You'll take the hit if it means setting a good example. Great stuff from you, Redbeard. Thank you so much for your time here. We always appreciate you coming on the show. Paul Norrid, making your first appearance, man. You did awesome today. You can tell even after only a month or a year and change here at Liquid, you're a very safe driver and you've got an eye for it. So thank you for being here today. Final thoughts before we let you go today, Paul.
Well, again, thanks for having me. And I want to shout out the truck shop and trailer shop for taking good care of us and our equipment. And also shout out to the company just for being so safety minded. And a lot of companies will say our drivers are the most important, but when the rubber meets the road, that doesn't seem to be the case. But with Liquid, it definitely is.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's so cool, Paul. Glad to hear it. And Mike hitting you with the amen too. Love it, guys. You guys are both welcome back here on the show anytime you want. Paul, I'll get you those 25,000 Drive for Gold points in your account as soon as I can. All right, my friend?
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike and Paul. You guys take care. Be safe out there. We'll talk to you soon.
Later. Always a pleasure.
Yep. Goodbye.
Big thanks to Mike Redbeard Stanfield and Paul Norrid there making his first appearance on the show. Amanda, you and I are known for running our mouths, but we got a lot of really good info from the drivers there in that hour-long conversation. I just feel like we covered so much stuff, and Jesse and Cole set us up for success with this one. What a cool episode, and what an episode where drivers can take so much from it from so many different aspects.
Oh, yeah. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. When we talk to the drivers, especially about the serious topics, you really see across the board how much they care about what they do. That's the one thing the guys kept agreeing with, like, yes, absolutely. And here's a tip for this and here's how you should do that. But, not a single one of the 9 was brushed off. And it just makes me feel good to know that that's what the drivers are like.
Absolutely. Something that we didn't get to because we were so busy talking about those 9 tips that we wanted to get to with the drivers, but just sort of ran out of time, is this period of time called the 100 Deadliest Days. Since we're talking about summertime safety here, the 100 Deadliest Days is a term most people associate with teenage drivers, but it absolutely applies to trucking as well. And honestly, it's one of the best summertime safety devices that we can all remember. The 100 Deadliest Days generally refers to, Amanda, the period between Memorial Day and Labor Day. This stretch consistently sees increased highway fatalities, more distracted driving, more impaired driving, more teen drivers on the road, more vacation traffic, more motorcycles, RVs, boats, more construction zones, and more fatigue-related incidents. And I feel like it's kind of fantastical to call it the 100 Deadliest Days. We need hang on, actually, I might.
It could be a Rob Zombie movie, you know?
Yeah, I need my Law and Order button, but I don't think I do. The 100 Deadliest Days. It feels like I'm putting too much on it, but really I'm not. And
no, not at all.
I hate to be the guy that makes a big deal out of something, but you don't want to be the one on the other end of a high school age driver careening into the back of your trailer or the side of your truck because they were distracted. We know liquid drivers take safety seriously, just like you already mentioned. We got to think about all the other crazy people out there on the road right now. I think about RVs, Amanda, and we heard a little bit about the RV traffic in the interview there. But these guys, nobody tests you when you drive an RV off the lot. I could go and buy a 40-foot trailer today and just haul it off the lot, and they're going to wave at me like I'm the best driver ever. Meanwhile, I've got no experience driving something that long, especially not at 75 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah. Same thing with the big U-Haul. A lot of people making moves during the summer because it's in between the school year. You think that, Bob, next door neighbor, has a lot of experience in driving a big box truck? Probably not. But you bring up a good point of the teenage drivers. That's always the first thing that I think of in the summertime. And I've watched the traffic pattern on my own street change in the last week from pick up and drop off, carpool of kids going to school, to clearly they're going out to hanging out, and it's a lot less cautious. So a lot of things to be aware of. The weather warms up and everything and everyone comes out and comes alive.
Yep, it's true. I'm seeing it change on my street as well. I live at the end of a loop. And one thing I've noticed, the kid next door, the next door family has 4 boys from the ages of probably 7 all the way up to 16. And the 16-year-old is driving now. He's been working on his truck for a couple of years. He finally got his license, which means not only is he out driving around all the time, but other kids are coming to his house.
Right.
And the other day, one of them parked a Honda Accord in the middle of the road, just pulled up, stopped dead, got out with keys in hand, shut the door, and I'm sitting there looking at my neighbor. There's no place to go. It's a good thing we live on a loop because the road is blocked at this point. So, it's little things like that, though. I don't think that kid was being malicious. I think that kid was being a kid. He's a high schooler. He's blissfully unaware that his actions have consequences at this point. And let's not forget, Amanda, this being a mother, he's probably 16, 17. He's invincible, right? Nothing bad can happen to him.
Ever.
So very important to remember this stuff. There's also another few bullet points here that I have that are kind of associated with the 100 Deadliest Days that I feel like we should just mention before we get out of here. I know this episode's running a little bit long, but trust me, you've got the windshield time. I know what you do during the day, you guys out there. You're not fooling me. Drivers unfamiliar with long-distance travel are a big thing. That causes fatigue. If you've never done a 7-hour road trip where you only stop a couple of times, you really have no idea what it's like. And that, a driver just heard me say, you only stop a couple of times in 7 hours, and they scoffed because you've got the gas tank to get you through those 7-hour drives, and you've got the, the resilience and the experience to do so. A lot of people don't. A lot of people love to just jump in the car. There's that ChatGPT commercial that's like, I'll create a playlist for you and make you the perfect road trip. Yeah, well, you won't teach them how to drive, ChatGPT, and that's a big part of a road trip, right?
And summer concerts, people heading home late, all kinds of different things to consider. I mean, there's just so much more going on, and it is specifically that period. It's crazy.
Summer months consistently produce the highest number of roadway fatalities in the U.S., and it's not close. According to the NHTSA, thousands more fatal crashes occur during the summer driving season compared to winter months. And you wouldn't think that. Winter gets all the headlines. The roads are crazy. Yeah, nobody's out on them. Everybody stays home when they see that stuff. The one thing everybody does when the temperature hits 90, board shorts, flip-flops, forget the common sense, and hit the beach, right?
Yeah.
That's what we all do, and I'm guilty of it. I'm sure you're guilty of it. You are the best driver in the world, I know.
This is true.
But you're probably guilty of it from time to time. We all are.
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, you look at summer, too, is full of drinking activities, right? You've got weddings, you've got barbecues, graduation parties, all of these different things where so many people are going to be coming from somewhere where they've maybe had a few too many. So, that, again, more factors to the factors that are already there, more bodies on the road, but in a more dangerous state even.
Yeah, and let's look at this from the trucking standpoint, too. The freight market is turning around in front of our very eyes. Everybody is busy right now. Everybody is hauling. That means drivers aren't sitting. Well, if they're not sitting, where are they at? They're on the road. So Congestion is just a fact of the matter here. AAA is in on this with the NHTSA as well, repeatedly warned that the period between Memorial Day and Labor Day sees a major spike in fatal crashes involving specifically teen drivers. So this whole episode is just meant as a reminder to keep an eye out and understand that while that little lull in the spring is nice because you're not getting snowed on and you're not getting frozen out at night, all of a sudden spring turns to summer and chaos ensues. So keep an eye out there, Amanda. Again, I know because you've got such a good driving record that you're out there paying attention to this stuff.
Did we say that? I don't know if I said that I had a good driving record. I think I just said I was a good driver, but yeah, no, definitely.
Okay. So the record wouldn't back up the claim is what you're saying.
I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. Listen,
that's really smart.
I would say, though, be ever vigilant,
Yes.
Don't become complacent.
Yep, and keep those phones out of your hands. You guys are great at that anyway. But just an extra reminder, that's one of the things that's going to distract people, and distracted drivers are dangerous drivers. We appreciate everybody stopping by for today's episode. We'll be back next week, 5 a.m. local time, with a brand new episode of the Liquid Trucking Podcast. Stay safe out there, drivers. Keep the shiny side up. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in and being the gold standard of drivers on the road. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and tune in next week for another episode of the Liquid Trucking Podcast.
Interested in finding out more about what it takes to bring a podcast like the Liquid Trucking Podcast to your fleet? Bulldog provides tailor-made top-to-bottom podcast production services. We'll meet your terminal staff, connect with your drivers, and bring you the content you want your drivers to hear. Type bulldog.works into your browser to connect with us and learn more about what we can do for your fleet. That's bulldog.works for podcasts, tenacious recruiting, and more.